Hello everybody, it's Tim here again for another video. This one's going to be kind of quick. This is pretty much examining Star Wars Chapter 2. This video is going to be a lot quicker than the first one because in the first one I pretty much covered almost the entire series. I recently decided to finish it, and I have reviews for all these movies pretty much. Now my thoughts on some of them have changed, as I mentioned in the other review, or other examination review. Now in this one, some of my views have changed on these as well. Star Wars The Last Jedi, my old review I gave it like a low 2 passable. Watching it again, knowing what I'm kind of getting and what the director's going for, I still give it a 2, but I thought it was like okay. To me, it's still the second worst, it is the worst of the Star Wars series, along with Episode 1, which I've come to accept Episode 1's flaws now more because it's pretty much just a kids movie. That one was just kind of okay too. This one's just kind of okay as well. The reason I give this movie more of a break now is because I know what the director was going for with it. Pretty much what Rian Johnson was trying to do with this, he thought he could like revolutionize Star Wars and give us a movie that like gets away from all the old stuff and reestablishes the Jedi Order and reestablishes like the rules of the Jedi and gives us all this new direction and new stuff for the series. His like initial plan or idea for this isn't actually a bad way to go for the movie. Like, you got Yoda in the movie like burning down or whatever the oldest Jedi temple with the Jedi books, like laughing about how the old ways didn't really work and we need to move on. Yeah, if you watch the prequels, the original Jedi teachings were pretty bad. Yoda's advice was pretty bad, so it does make sense that they would want to kind of move on. The problem is this movie feels like it tries way too hard to give us something different from expectations. Like, they give us this Rose Tico character, who's just not very interesting at all and has no she's okay, the actress is fine. The character's just, meh, at best. And she just has like no chemistry with the John Boyega Finn character, and she's supposed to be like kind of like this new love interest. It's like, oh, you thought he was going to get with Rey because he had really good chemistry with her. Oops, no, it's going to be this character. And then when you get to Rise of Skywalker, it's like, oops, no, it's not either of them. So it's like, yeah, they don't really have any mesh at all. Laura Dern's character in this, where she plays like this new person like taking over the Resistance or whatever after Carrie Fisher's character gets wounded. She's bad. Like, the whole movie, she's just like, the biggest problem with this movie is the entire plot mostly is just like a spaceship is out of gas. That's pretty much it. And it's really bland. The stuff with Rey getting taught by Luke and stuff is kind of interesting. Like, showing that Luke is still flawed and that he made a mistake with Kylo Ren for a brief second. He thought about killing him, but didn't actually want to do it. You know, it was just like a brief second moment of weakness, but Kylo Ren thought he was actually was going to actually kill him. Some of that stuff is interesting, like showing Luke is still flawed and stuff like that. That makes the character more human instead of just like a superhero. Which superhero Luke with him like kicking ass constantly would still be interesting. The problem with this is that Luke is still underused and he doesn't really do enough, and his death is like extremely lame. Like, I get the idea you want to go for more of like a troubled Luke or whatever. That's cool, but he should still have like a kick-ass scene. They should have gave him some kind of action. He just kind of goes out like a punk, like way too easy. He uses force power to make a projection of himself to like aggravate Kylo Ren to like stall time for the Resistance to get away with help from Rey. Rey's character is better here. I still like Daisy Ridley. I never had a problem with her acting. It's not her fault the script writing for her was poor in Force Awakens for how overpowered she was. She's still kind of overpowered here, but they've already kind of made it like made a statement from the last movie that she's strong in the Force, and here she's had some training, so I can kind of buy into it more. She doesn't really aggravate me. I like her better than from these two sequels where she's more training and stuff. And just the actress's acting, I like her better than Hayden Christensen in the prequels. Her acting is better. Her trilogy's not, though. But yeah, what they do try to give us the director just tries so hard to subvert expectations that what he does give us most of the time just is not very interesting, or just not as interesting to look at or to watch. So as a whole, this is still just an okay movie. It's not a very good sequel at all. Maybe if Rian Johnson had started with The Force Awakens and it would have been his trilogy from the beginning, and it would have been all about like going against the old Jedi Order and established order and all that, maybe this would have been a much more interesting movie in the context of that kind of trilogy. But coming after Force Awakens and just not being very good written, it just doesn't work. Now we got Rise of Skywalker. Watching this one this time, I thought this movie was worse than The Last Jedi. I'd give this a low 2 stars. I thought it was passable. My problem with Rise of Skywalker is it's just too safe. Pretty much what it does is they looked at how everybody was getting pissed off about Last Jedi and how the directions it went and everything. They said, let's just make a safe, non-pissing anybody off film and just go with it. But it's just too safe. This movie is incredibly predictable, and the throwing into the Emperor just feels so rushed and just thrown in there to have him as the villain. You can tell this series was not planned whatsoever. And when you get to like the end of the movie and Rey's like, they're like, who are you? And she's like, I'm Rey Skywalker. It's like, no, you should say you're Rey Palpatine. Like, the whole message of this trilogy and her character has been her accepting who she is, like trying to figure out who she is and accepting it. Not like her coming up with an alternate identity for who she is. That doesn't work. She should just said I'm Rey Palpatine. That would have worked better. Like her just accepting what her name is and who she is, because her name is Palpatine doesn't mean she's going to be evil. That's pretty much the message of this trilogy by the end, and they just kind of go back on it with the ending. Yeah, all in all, it's just a low 2-star passable film. Kylo Ren's redemption arc, though, out of all 3 of these movies, and in the end, makes him the most interesting character. His scene with Harrison Ford in this is really good, where he has like a vision of him and like throws away his lightsaber instead of killing him with it. And he turns good, and then he gets killed and helping Rey out in the end. The kiss scene with him and Rey, though, was way too forced and thrown in. You didn't need that. But yeah, his arc is the most interesting of all 3 films, honestly. He should have been the star. Like, they should have just put it around this trilogy around his character. He would have been way more interesting. Yeah, as is, it's just a low 2. It's a passable flick. There's nothing to write home about. As far as like this sequel trilogy as a whole, because these last 2, the Force Awakens was too much of a remake of New Hope, but it was at least good for the action and for the new things they added in. Like, I liked the whole conflict with Kylo Ren and everything. But that one was at least good to me. These last 2 are just okay to passable. As a whole, this sequel trilogy is just okay for the action. Really, that's pretty much it. But it doesn't have any heart to it, unlike the prequel trilogy, which had flaws but still had heart. There's no heart here. This has just been made up on the spot. There's no vision. Yeah, I would say unless you're a Star Wars fan, I would say pretty much you could skip this sequel trilogy. But if you're a fan, you'll want to see it, and you probably already have by now. So yeah, it's pretty much a waste of time. So yeah, that's pretty much my examination and wrap up for the Star Wars flicks, or the Star Wars universe. Oh, and I would also say check out the Clone Wars animated series. It's actually great. Not the Macro series, which is extremely short, which was fine as well. But the actual series, the Clone Wars series, that lasted about 6 seasons, 5 regular seasons, and 1 like Netflix seasons called The Lost Episodes. It's great. It does have flaws. There are some tonal inconsistencies with like the first couple of a lot of the first episodes of the first season, but it fixes itself pretty much about halfway through. But it's a great series. It has flaws, but it's still a great series if you accept it for what it is. Don't look at it as like a movie level thing. Look at it as a animated television series, family friendly or whatever. It's a great series. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.